Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday at 3 o'clock. This is our show. I say ours because I want you all to call in. If anybody listening with any questions, I have Lynn, my book editor, here right now. The reason we're doing this show together is we've come to the complete conclusion, absolutely, of our book. It's now ready shortly. One more last chapter, just a few more words, and we're ready to put it into publication. So here I am, and we're going to talk a little bit about the book, and any questions that you may have for me, Lynn, I'm happy to answer, and anybody in the studio audience today. I'm here, ready to go.
So let's start off by talking about your book.
Okay.
And like you said, we have one more conversation, and then I have about probably 15 transcripts, plus the original contents of the first book, and then this will begin a process of bringing it all together, taking out the pieces that we really want to talk about and putting them into the format of the book, and then we'll go through some revision, and then we'll be looking at getting the book out.
I'm really excited because it's a continuation of my last book, but this is going to have much more detail of exactly what happened to me. And my purpose is not just for me putting the book out, it's to show people what I have experienced, and hopefully they'll be able to relate to a lot of what's in the book. I think we're doing a very good job. We meet once a week for about an hour and a half. So we're putting a lot of time and effort into this. So maybe it's enough about the book, but we'll carry on with the show. But I'm really, really excited about this. So any questions that the studio audience may have, or you have, Lynn, please direct them to me, and I'll be happy to answer
So
them.
you've talked about abductions, but we've talked about them as friendly abductions.
Right.
And where you would be taken to other planets, let's say. Have you ever had a situation where you were on another planet and abducted and brought to Earth?
I don't have recollection of another planet where I was brought to Earth, but obviously I was, because here I am right now. I don't have memory of that. However, I have many memories of being taken to another planet, which to me is very interesting. Just like the viewers who are listening right now say, well, how did this happen? I didn't even realize at the time that this was happening, that was happening to me, until I realized, which I did say on the last show, I believe, is that I thought I was, which I knew nothing about, which was astral projection. I was flying all around. But when you fly around, people don't necessarily see you. Now, I go back into my first book with my travels, and I see it very clearly. I'm talking to people. I'm on a spacecraft. So I'm very, very excited to come out with what was happening to me then. I see that I was being taken to many different places. I totally understand if people are saying, oh my gosh, this is way out. Because to me, I didn't even understand it. I'm probably in my 18th year, but realizing exactly what happened to me. So to me, I find this very, very fascinating and interesting. So any viewers there that might want a question about how it happened, or please feel free to ask me, Lynn. Or Margaret, who is here today too, my friend of 30 years, who did not understand any of this 30 years ago, and me neither, but you've seen what's happened to me over these years, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So can you talk about this idea of birthdays and solar return, and, does your collective have anything to say about the significance of birthdays And of course, I'm asking that because today is my birthday.
I actually was just going to say a very happy birthday to you, Lynn. I'm sorry it was only a macaroon with a cake on it, with a candle on it, but the thought was there, okay? So happy birthday.
Thank you.
No, it's just a significance. It's another day here, but they know from, let's say, on the other side that these are very real to us. We figure it's the day we were born here on Earth, and it's very important to celebrate that. You know, we lose loved ones, we gain loved ones, but however, we should never really forget the significance of a birthday. It's our birthday here on Earth. I'm sure we've had many more, but this is the one that we relate to, correct? So a very, very happy birthday to you, Lynn.
And let me ask you one more question, and that is, if someone wants to work with you one-on-one and have you do a reading for them, can you share what that experience might be like for them?
Well, I'm happy, which I'm now getting, because by popular demand, let's say, I am being asked to give readings to people, which I'm very happy to. Any questions or any viewers out there that may not feel maybe comfortable talking on the air to me about what they want to talk about, I am available for readings. Let me just give the number out, if I may. 888-994-4995. Please call in if you have anything right now, or also go to my website. I'll be happy to answer your questions, or my email, which is Sally Barnard 1111@gmail.com. So I'm happy to answer questions. If you want a reading, please let me know, and I'll be happy to do that for you. I don't really advertise myself that much because I am available on my show, but I'm realizing that there is a whole lot of people out there that do want to contact me. I'm here.
Well, and the type of reading you do could take up the whole, one reading could take up a whole show.
Yes, I can answer a question on the show, and I'm really happy to. So please call in, which I just gave the number out. It should be under there, I guess, in a minute. So call in, and obviously that is for free, and I'm happy to do that. But anybody in the audience that wants to ask me a question right now, I am here. If you're local, please come down here to the cafe, the Brooklyn Cafe. I'm here to answer your questions as best as I can, and we'll go from there. Do you have anybody in the audience right now? Any questions for me?
What kind of questions would you like us to ask?
Anything that you want, Corina.
About me, about you, or?
Whatever you feel that may be forefront in your mind right now that you may want to ask me. Just to let the audience know, I have no idea what anyone's going to ask me, but I work that way because I work through a collective who will give me the answers. Can I, Sally, answer all these things? Probably not, but they are with me on the show.
So what can you tell us for people trying to connect with their soul's purpose or their soul's mission? Because we all know our soul came here with a mission, but we forget. We forget, and we get, distracted with life. And of course, whatever parents, school, church, whatever, change our belief system. And then somewhere around later on in life, somehow we start to reconnect, and we want to go back to figuring out what that is. So what do you think is the best way for us to open up that channel so we can reconnect?
Well, we all have different ways. I have to admit, I honestly don't do a lot of meditation. I kind of can tune in, but meditation is good. I'm not saying don't do that. It's our gut feeling about something that we feel that we should be following. I feel today, especially, and my friend here who's been 30 years my friend sees me on this journey because I'm getting messages that I should go out and actually talk about this in front of a lot of people. So it's very important. Go with your gut, go with your feeling. And I'm here to answer the best that I can with what's happened to me. I can't answer everybody's question. I've had many things happen to me. I am here. So if there's something that you feel that maybe you want to know, I will do my best through my collective. But it's not just all about what I can do. We can actually do this ourselves if we're aware that we can do that. And the awareness is very important. Obviously, me being on this show now for close to about 4 or 5 months, my awareness is even becoming more aware. So I'm here for other people. And that's basically what I feel that I'm here for right now, actually, to help other people. So if there's any viewers that are actually thinking about they would like to know a little bit more, or you or anybody here, please ask me. I will do the best to answer, because I have a collective. I'm in a kind of trance, but nobody really knows that, including myself. I know that I don't have all these answers, so I'm definitely getting help, if that helps.
Sally, Josh wrote in asking, can we learn just as much from nature as we can from the smartest human minds?
Yes, we can, because nature gives us a message. And I'm going to include in nature pets, because pets have a built-in, I'm going to say, and this is the first time I actually said that, but I see it, a built-in radar. They know what's going on. They sense, they feel. So even the plants, I used to hear many years ago, talk to your plants. If they're not feeling good, they'll show that they're not happy here, so they'll be dying. And I thought, how can you talk to a plant and they're suddenly going to be okay? But try it. I did, and you know what? I now have a green thumb, if that's what they call it, because I talk to them, I nurture them. It's the same as what we do here. Be kind to your pets. They have unconditional love. We learn, it doesn't matter what pet, a cat, a dog, it doesn't, even a bird. They have a built-in radar to help us. So be kind, which is my message to one another. Try to be kind to one another, because we flourish that way. We understand a lot. So does that help a little bit with the question? Does that answer the question?
I'm sure.
I get carried away sometimes, Freddie.
And I want to change gears a little bit, because we spoke before you did the show about completion. And I'm one of those people that I have 101 different ideas going on at the same time. And sometimes completing them becomes more of a challenge than creating them. So I guess my question to you is, I set out a goal to change a little bit of the delivery of the shows. Do you see it being completed?
Well, you know what? We have the answers within ourselves. Completion is something that we have to, I'm also, because we could have gone on maybe, as you are aware, Lynn, another 2 or 3 months with this book. However, I knew that inside of me, I knew that we had to complete that. But it's not just my book. It's with anything that we start. We will get some sort of, I guess, a message that we're coming to the end of whatever it would be, because it's a very varied question. We all have many things that we might need to complete. So I don't know exactly any given person what they're figuring that they need to complete. But we get the answers within us. Suddenly we'll feel whatever the project is that we're coming to an end. It's not always easy. I could have gone on another couple of months with my book. As you know, I wanted to start talking about the UFOs, which I feel very close to me right now. But I knew, something in me knew I was getting completion here. We need to stop. So we can go over sometimes what we're doing. Think, listen to yourself, and you'll say, you know what, I think I'm coming to the end. Because with completion, there starts something else, and then we start again. That's very important. They're telling me that right now. We need to complete, we start again with something different. And that's the circle of life, actually.
So it's not completing, it's just continuing new venues, new pages.
It's a continuation. It may not be the same topic, but we never, I mean, even with our lives, if we want to go into this a little bit, we carry on. We're completing our life cycle here, but we still continue to carry on, be it when we've gone or when we come back. Completion is the end. There is no completion as far as I know it right now. There has to be something, but I'm not aware of it right now. We continue. Does that help?
Yeah, so since we're not completing, we're continuing. What do you see the next continuance of the studio is?
Well, as I always will say, and I will say now, you're coming to the end of, this is the Brooklyn Cafe that I'm talking about, and I feel like I get a lot of messages for you here, guys. You actually are completing a cycle right now. And just as a disclaimer, we have not talked about this, but it's coming to me very strongly right now. You're beginning to start, and the word is error. Error, not error. Error, is that the correct word? Yes, and I believe that you're starting a new cycle. This is just coming to me very strongly. Go with it, both of you, Dawn and Freddie. You will find that automatically, and I've said this before because I feel great when I come into the studio, the right people will appear. You have to decipher sometimes yourselves, but you will have that opportunity to bring the people in of where you are. And I think you've advanced a lot. This, to me, is a magical place. And I actually would like to bring Margaret in because, Margaret, you don't mind talking about what you're going through. This is a magical place. It brings, for me, I can only talk for me, but I'm hearing this from other people. It brings people together. You are kind of, it's like a home here. So don't disregard some people, yes, but you will feel the people that come into your studio are being led here. Does that make sense to you right now?
Yes.
And continue, don't disregard, listen. Not everybody, but the majority of people, which I call the law of attraction, are being led to come to this studio. And a year from now, let's take the date and let's see where we are 1 year from now. I feel that my prediction is correct.
Me too. Me too.
Yes, you do too. Yeah, I don't know if you have your mic.
I said, me too. I'm feeling that also.
Okay, I feel
Or
it very,
or
very strongly.
Pretty much, I've already seen it for you guys. I've already seen
But not
something different.
everybody that's coming in. I don't want to say everyone that's entering here, but I feel that you are definitely on the right track. And I don't know if you want to talk on the air, Margaret, for a few minutes. Margaret is my friend who's sitting in the audience, who's known me for 30 years. She's gone through a few little difficult times, just like any of us have. But I think you noticed that when you first walked in here today, right? I bring you in here.
I'm getting goosebumps. Sorry.
Good. I mean, good, but
When I walked in today, it was like I was coming in for the first time, and I just got such a greeting that I felt I left everything behind me and outside, because what I came in was not what I started out the house with. I have, lots of concerns.
put your mic a
and
little
things.
closer.
I have lots of concerns about my health and things like that, and age that seems to be coming to me quicker than it ever did. So just coming in here lifted my spirits, and I intend to come here every week because I just enjoy the people that I'm meeting. And I wouldn't be talking to these people because I don't go anywhere.
That's
My
beautiful,
social life,
Margaret.
my
That's
social
beautiful.
life is not good. So this to me is what I want to have.
So would you feel like you'd want to invite everybody that's local into here to just feel that? Because I do.
Yes.
This is not necessarily a commercial for the Brooklyn Cafe, but you will not be upset if you show up here, okay?
No.
I feel that very strongly, okay?
No, when I
Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah, when the first time I came, you told me we were going to the, now I forget, theater, whatever, but this is not what I
I
imagined.
didn't explain it, right?
Yes. So when we pulled into the driveway, I kind of, looked, where is this, expecting a large building, I guess. And we came in, and just coming in here and the way people greeted you, it made you feel good. So it is a place that I would suggest anybody
Thank you.
coming, not just if you're not feeling good, but for any reason.
Thank you, Margaret. That's great. Thank you. Okay. Do you have a question for me, Lynn? I feel you're my guest, and I feel that we're not ignoring you, but let's go from there.
No, that's great. I love that feedback because that's the same thing that I experienced when I came here. 8 months ago now, something like that. And I'd known Don and Freddie 3 years before that. But even in that 3 years, there was such a shift. I could feel that shift, and this is a different place physically than where they were 3 years before, but it's also a different place energetically.
But not to interrupt you, but that's amazing that you say 3 years ago, because I knew someone that was on their show 3 years ago who kept saying to me, go to the Brooklyn Cafe. It's not that I didn't want to go, but I never really listened. I came 3 years later, and I believe, as we can talk another show about timelines, it wasn't my time to be there 3 years ago. I have met the most amazing people, including yourself, that's writing my book here. So for me, my timeline was correct 3 years later. And I mean, it's been amazing to me. The fact that you said 3 years ago you were meant to be here and yet didn't show up. So nothing, as my motto, I always say, nothing is coincidental. So.
No, because everybody has to be ready.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I wasn't ready for anything that I've experienced here 3 years ago.
So it's interesting for the audience to see this, because you see how this, and people in the studio, please, you know, if you have a question about this, you see how this, it kind of is the timing. I mean, I've met the most amazing people here. I'm not saying I wouldn't have met them 3 years ago, but my timing was for now. And it was for me to gain completion, to complete my book now. So everyone in the audience here has become a very good friend of mine today. Would that have happened? Maybe, I don't know. I don't have the answers 3 years ago, but I know it's happening now, so. Okay, let's throw this out to the audience again. Maybe they have some input.
I have a question. If you feel somebody is ill and you say to them, I think you should go see a doctor, and they push it aside, how do you get them to really understand that they should go?
Okay, there's a lot of different ways that I could answer that. However, I used to ask my guide, as people know, who was Aldo, and he used to come out with it. If he felt, even to the fact that if someone was going to cross a road, there could be a problem. And I said, how do you tell people? And his answer was, I do. No matter what they think of me, I have to let them know. Obviously, there may be a tactful way, because I find that, because I do give messages to people. But I think we have a responsibility, if we're able to understand and feel what's going on with someone. You don't want to scare that person. But you know what? If it's a situation that they need to know the answers to, we need to let them know. We can always say, this is just a message, but take care of yourself. I believe it's important to do that. It's hard sometimes if we may be able to see a little bit more into what's going on to someone. But if I'm giving a message that someone isn't well, I think I need to pass that on in a nice way. We don't want to scare people. We have to do that in a nice way. I think it's important.
Sally, we had a very brief conversation on Friday about two aspects of life. And I think what you were telling me was that in terms of how long our life lasts, that is something that is basically out of our control, but the quality of life that we have while we're here is something that we can do something about. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no to that question. The quality of life is, and we're aware of that. So we know that we need to, I mean, I talk about positivity and it's very important. Do I practice it all the time? I have to be honest, no. I do when I come in here. I feel very positive. So we have control over that. We don't necessarily have control about when we're going. We do, but we don't know it. So we all have, I don't want to know the day that I'm going to pass. We're all going to pass. So I'm not talking about something that doesn't happen to us. Do I want to know the exact date and time? No. But that awareness, so we have control about to live our life the way while we're still here in our now. We have control because we've already set a date, but we don't know that. So let's live as best we can every day to its fullest. That's my message as far as that goes. Do I practice this all the time? No, I don't. But I'm aware that we need to do that. So if that helps a little bit with the answer.
It does, and I think I was asking the question really from the perspective of people being afraid. And, you know, that, well, if I don't do this right, or if I don't do that right, or if I do this or don't do that, you know, what kind of impact is that going to have on not only my quality of life, but my length of life, right? And which you've answered, but would you talk about it from the perspective of fear? And what your guides are telling you about that.
Well, my guides tell me that, and obviously it's going into the unknown. We pass here and we go somewhere else. I've had a lot of validation that the people, especially Aldo, my friend, who was here with me on this lifetime, is still talking to me. So my fear about passing isn't great. My message is that I truly, with all my belief and everything that's happened to me, we go and we live on. We come back, and there's many aspects to what I'm saying. So try to live your life as best you can without the fear of passing. Enjoy yourself while you're here. We all have a limited time, be it whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I don't necessarily want to know my age when I'm going to pass, but I want to enjoy myself, because we all have a limited time. We come back, we go somewhere else. So my fear has gone totally, but I'm not expecting everyone to understand that. But from all the validation that I've had from people, let's say from beyond the other side of the veil, they're helping me. And if I can pass that on to take away some fear of people that may be given a terminal illness or whatever it is, if I can help them in any way, don't necessarily have to believe me, but I don't have the fear anymore. So that has helped me tremendously.
Sally, how can we connect to the other side if we have a loved one that we want to speak with?
Talk to them, Dawn. That's what I do. As my viewers probably know, I lost my daughter maybe about 6 July of last year. I talk to her. I feel her. And I get the most amazing messages. I have someone that I'm working with on his program. I go out the other day and I'm standing by his car, and I felt very close. It's Russ, who I'm getting very close to with what he talks about. I'm looking at his car and I said, are these the initials? This is your car? He said, yes, it was the initials of my daughter. I mean, that's just one thing. But talk to your loved ones. They are around you. I feel that my daughter was showing me that. Look at the license plate on his car. It's my initials. These things, yes, one or two could be coincidence, but when you start to look, you'll see so much validation is given for our loved ones. They are around us. I can't make people believe this, but just be aware. I totally believe it so much. And for the people that know me, see the validation that I get. Please understand this. Thank you.
My people that has crossed over would visit me in my sleep. I'm a lucid dreamer, and we'll have a conversation as if they're still here. And then in the middle of the dream, I'll realize, wait a minute, you're not here with me anymore. And they would just let me know, yeah, we just came for a visit, and it's okay. Don't get upset. We just came for a visit, and then they're gone. So it's like, okay, I saw such and such and such, and and it's a comfort.
That's beautiful. And as the people that know me, I get my goosebumps, which I'm getting right now. And you know how we know? We can't say definitely that it's real, but we get that feeling of validation. We don't forget that. We wake up sometimes from a dream and we have no memory. But the ones that are significant, that are real, we seem to remember. I remember my dreams from 18 years ago, and yet I might have dreamt last night. I know I dreamt, but I have no idea because it didn't have the same significance. Because we have a subconscious that sees everything that's going on, and we bring that in. But the lucid dreams, as you're talking to, which I guess that's the saying for them, they stay with us. They don't leave us. We can even remember the conversations that we had with these people. So it's very, very important for people to listen to their dreams. Not all of them, but the ones that are very real. Thank you for sharing that.
So we all, about angel numbers. I'm really into angel numbers, and I do see them quite often, and I definitely read upon them all the time. But a lot of the times it does talk about, keep an eye out for signs, and it'll guide you in the way that you're supposed to go. And it's not that I'm not aware, and I'm absolutely open to receiving anything that is meant for me. But how do you notice the signs more proactively?
I love that, because it's actually a subject very dear to me, because I opened up, I saw the numbers 1111. Today people understand a little bit more, but I saw this many, many years ago. And not only did I see it, I'd go to sleep maybe at 10:30, and I would sit up and look at my clock. It said 11:11. So I knew that this had more significance. Today I understand it more. Take in what you're seeing. It is important. They give us messages through numbers. I read a book. I realized, I won't go into the whole story, how I knew that a lot of other people were beginning to open up to 11:11. There's a whole book on that. So I began to see that it was a significant number. We all have. 11:11 is my number, just like you may have a favorite number that you keep seeing.
2.
But they all have a significance. Definitely, they talk to us through the numbers.
But how do you understand the meaning? Like, how do you comprehend that? How do you pick up on the signs that they're giving you?
Awareness. Just know that someone somewhere, you may not know who, is trying to contact you through that number. My number was quite well known. It wasn't at that point, but 11:11, there's a whole book on it. So I was able to go out and buy the book. But it's not just the 11:11. These are all significant numbers. So just be aware that it's, I won't go into the whole thing that I understand with 11:11, but each has a significance. So maybe even while you're seeing a certain number, maybe just even do research on that number and see what, I mean, without me knowing the number, I don't know what to tell you, but it's definitely a message for you. It's a message from a loved one.
Yeah, so the numbers that I usually see 11:11. I also see my birthday, which is 11/29, and then 222 are like the three main that I see. And I definitely do my research. You know, I definitely go online or even read books, but it's also hard to, like, you can't always trust people or what they're saying. And like a lot of the times as well, like one says one thing about that number and then it's something else is saying completely different, and then you get thrown off and confused. And it's like, how do you know like what it's really trying to say? You know what I mean?
What you can relate to. I related very much to the lady that wrote the book of 11:11, and I followed her through her other books. There may have been somebody else that I wouldn't be able to relate to, but I'm also very friendly with someone who is pretty well known, which is Uri Geller. And I met him, and on his pictures, on his art, he does, people that may know who Uri Geller is, he is a public person, he's quite well known. But under his paintings, he had the number 11:11, and yet I was able to meet him. So I felt that there was more clarity being able to talk to him or somebody else. The lady that wrote the book, I very much understand a lot of what she's saying. Yeah, there's people out there just like anything else, but if you don't feel connected to the person that you're reading about, then go on to something else that you do feel connected with, if that helps you.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to break for a commercial.
It's 333.
There you go. Very good. No coincidences. Absolutely. That was amazing. I love it. I love it. I never lose that moment. 333. We'll be back shortly. This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real, and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybarnard.com today. Now, back to the show. Hi, we're back. I was just having a little conversation with Lynn here, and I believe you want to ask me some questions that I feel are very significant right now, so please ask me.
Well, yeah, so you talked earlier about, that we could have kept going with the book, but we reached a point where we need to finish the book so we can get it out there to people, because your life's going to keep going. And you mentioned earlier that you have, since you started doing this show, some of your gifts have become stronger, which will continue to happen. And so it's like, how there's really no benefit to waiting any longer to get the book out there. But I think the question that I really had for you about the book is, and Aldo has been with us the whole time in asking the questions, and actually
My
it's
spirit guide, just
yes,
as new viewers.
exactly. But one of the things we've done in the way that we've worked on the book is that this the process we've used is very similar to your show, in the sense that I would ask you questions and then you and the collective would answer them. And we got to the point where we both knew that Aldo was asking the questions through me, and then Aldo was answering the questions through you.
Correct.
And so it's almost like a spiritual ventriloquism times 2. I'm not sure how you would do that, but so that piece is really important. And so what are your guides telling you about the book in terms of what it's going to do when it gets out there?
Well, I feel this is what they're telling me, and of course Aldo is in this conversation because he's here right now, and he is in spirit, just so people know who Aldo is. He's going, carry on, finish the book, which we're doing. And my message, it's not all about me, it's about what I can contribute to the fact that I've had all this validation. And this is really important, because I've had a lot of validation, even with our story, as you say, suddenly took on a different perspective when we started to say, I said, Lynn, ask me questions, just like you are on the show, and let the collective come in, which they have. And I think the book has taken even a stronger meaning into this. We ask, because me, Sally, just sitting here and you ask me something, I may not know the answer, but I have absolute faith that when I talk, and including as we're doing my story, my collective is coming in as Zena, which is Call Me Zena, the book, that will continue with what I need to know. So I feel that they've helped us greatly, as you have too, because we often say, and we're talking, Aldo, we actually talk to him, right? And he's giving us the answers.
Yeah,
So
we've had sessions where we've actually invited him in.
Yes, we
Right?
have.
I mean,
and
normally he
he's
just
happy.
shows up anyway, but
Yes.
But at one point we invited him in, and he was very clearly there.
Yes, absolutely. And I have to make a little, like, on the the lighter side of this, he has many more friends now than he did actually when he was here. Everybody seems to love my Aldo, okay? So
Right.
if you're here, and I know you're listening, he's happy, okay?
Yeah, and I want to ask one more thing, or at least share something, and that is that, if you're watching this show and you've had a loved one cross over to the other side, and like you were saying earlier, Sally, we don't necessarily know from our human perspective what that unknown, what is really there. And but if you've lost someone and you have doubts about whether they're okay or not, they know they're okay. They're probably more worried about you than you are about them. But for your own peace of mind, for you to be able to feel like everything is okay with them, because that'll help you feel like more is okay with you. that's a perfect reason to book a one-on-one reading with Sally, to get that reassurance, to get that level of as much certainty as you could get, and to ease the doubt in your mind so that you can move forward with your life, because you're still here.
Exactly.
Right? And so if you have any doubt at all, please reach out to her. We've got the numbers, the website, the email, and just set up your appointment with her and get this resolved for your own peace of mind.
Thank you, Lynn. I believe it is very important, because I am able, now that I think about all the messages that I've given people, they always give me something very significant. Like there is absolutely no way that I could know. It could be the first and last name of their loved one. Just like anybody else, I sit here saying, can I do this? But they validate that with me. I mean, how can I possibly know their loved one's first and last name without them telling me that? So especially in the very beginning, I thought, well, can I do this? I knew I was getting messages. However, they will validate to me, which I can pass on to them too. So yes, today I feel that they're definitely helping me.
And I think there was a question that came in when we were
Okay.
talking earlier.
Question about, oh my goodness, is there a way we can bring that up again? No.
How do you accept the good spirits and repel the bad?
Okay, I like that question, because it's not necessarily an easy question to answer, but for me personally, I can only go by what I feel. If I feel, I haven't had too many, let's say, bad spirits come in. I'm positive. I try to be very positive, and that's the same as here as it is there. I'm bringing in positivity. But if I feel that something isn't quite right, in my own mind, I'll say, no, I can't touch that. But the majority of people that I hear from, my spirits, or what they're telling me, because of course I do feel that I'm still being guided by Aldo, who is able to determine on the other side who is what we would call a bad spirit. There's no really such thing. It's in our imagination, but maybe not going the right way. I won't have the answers, basically. But if it's coming and flowing with me, I feel everything is good. If that kind of in a long way kind of went on a little bit about this, but if you can understand what I'm saying, that's basically my answer.
Sally, do we all have spiritual guides?
Yes, absolutely, 100% we do. Every single one of us. Whether we're aware of it, that's a different thing. I'm trying to make people more aware of that we are being helped. Not everybody is open to that, and I totally understand it. But you know what? When we pray, I'm not taking that away from anybody. Please pray, because they're listening. Everybody is listening. Have faith. They are with us. And that's a very important question.
And when things aren't going according to plan, or they're just not going well, does it mean that our spiritual guides have abandoned us?
No. That's entirely us. Because sometimes we have to learn lessons too. We have control. We have free will here. So if something is not happening the way that we want it to go to, I'm not saying be happy about it, because if it's not the way we want it, but be aware of it, because there is such a thing as karma, which spirits guides they won't interfere with that. They'll help us, but it's entirely up to us to continue the way that if it's a karma thing, and that may not even be in this lifetime, we need to work that out. But because of our free will, it'll keep coming up in different scenarios. They're here to guide us and not here to control us, if that makes, they're just telling me that very, very strongly. They're here to guide us and they're not here to control us. That's very important. I've never said that before, but I feel very strongly about that.
I have an interesting question. So there's a lot of, and I've done a lot of research on this, but there's a lot of talk about twin flames, and twin flames being two souls that were split up, and they go through a lot of reincarnation before eventually meeting again at some point What can you tell us about that?
I cannot believe, and I have to say that you're actually asking me this question, because having recently got married a couple of months ago, I got married many years ago too, that I've started everywhere I see, it's about twin flames. I don't have all the answers, but I believe it's another part of ourselves. We don't want to get lost, so to speak, a codependency relationship, because that's not good. But sometimes we see in as far as I know, and this is what they're telling me, in someone else that's close to us, what we don't always see in ourselves. So they present that to us. So I never knew about this a few months ago. Excuse me.
It's a learning.
It's a learning
experience.
curve. What we may not like in that other person actually is what we don't like within ourselves. You got it, right? Love it. I love it.
Yes, that's exactly
Karina.
what it is.
Perfect. Yes. And I've only just began to realize that maybe 2 weeks ago, okay, because I recently got married. Not everything is all what we would say peaches and cream. And I'm saying, well, why don't I like that? It's something I'm meant to know. Okay, so that was a beautiful question, and thank you so much for asking that.
You know, it's funny how Disney gets involved in everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because, and I have an experience of that in this lifetime, and what I finally realized that this idea of soul union was with myself. It wasn't with the other person, it was with me.
That's right.
But
yes.
the potentials or possibilities is what got me to actually do that aspect of work on myself.
Well, if we look at it to simplify this, maybe for our audience, we're all on our journey, independently on this journey. So what we need to learn will show itself to us. We don't always take notice, but somehow some of the harder learning lessons come from our significant other, come from our family, which is children, grandparents. It stays within us because it takes on a slightly different significance when we're getting problems within our family. If it's a close friend, yes, but sometimes when someone else has experienced it, we say, oh, well, that's their problem. We can't always do that within our own family. So what we learn from our family, we may like it, we may not, but it is definitely a lesson, and we need to listen to that. If that helps a little bit with the question.
Yeah.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
You say a couple times in your shows, like, oh, I can see you're on the right path, but how can you tell, as Sally Barnard or Zena, that somebody is on the right path?
A feeling. It's
Okay.
very hard to explain that. If I don't feel that someone may be, or they're asking a significant question, and I don't feel very comfortable about maybe going into that in more detail, I'm not going to say you're on the wrong path, but I can say that I have reservations maybe about maybe you should look into something else. It's just a feeling I get. It's difficult to explain it, but I do definitely feel that because I'm an empath too. Yes, of course.
I'm just going to piggyback on that because what he said kind of coincide with what Freddie said earlier when he said when things are not going our way, is it that our souls or spirits abandon us? And that's not what it is. What it is what you're asking is when you're feeling stuff is not working, it's not that they abandon you, it's that you're not on your right path. And you will actually know when you're not. Right? Because you feel it.
Yes, I mean, not everybody can really, especially when
Because
it's
we're not
close to
connected.
you, to know that. So it is sometimes good to ask somebody else. I have my own stuff. I'm not always right about interpreting it my way, but I would ask someone that I would feel confident that could give me a good answer on that and listen to it, yes. So we can't always answer ourselves on that. Excuse me. Sorry.
I'm trying to formulate it.
You
Sorry,
have a
I'm trying to-
follow-up?
I'm trying to formulate
Okay,
it,
that's
yeah.
all right. We'll,
Another question on this TV. Did someone send us another question?
does someone else have a question?
Are evil spirits the voices that say, you can't do that or you're not good enough?
Are evil spirits the voices that say you cannot do that or you're not good enough? There's a yes and no to that answer. It's something that we feel within ourselves. We get messages from both sides, let's say. I try to keep positivity here, and hopefully I'm passing that on to the other side too. But once in a while, we may get an incorrect message. I can't tell you it's evil or not, I don't know. But if we don't feel comfortable, then we need to research that answer a little bit more. If on a, let's say, a good spirit is giving us an answer, we're going to feel great about it. But if there's something that we ourselves, and we can all do this, question, I don't know if I like, just like we're here, I'm not sure about that answer, then we need to do a little bit more research in whatever it is the question is.
I kind of want to follow up on that. So are spirits in general completely external forces acting upon one person, or are they partially internal as well?
It's a little bit of both. We get messages from, when we say from the other side, but we also get messages within ourselves because we have what we call a higher self that is in communication, let's say, without going into it more detail, to the spirits that are talking to us. So my higher self, and that's why they told me to call me Zena, is I sometimes say, Zena, what should we do? If I'm not sure, I'll ask my spirit guide, Aldo, what should I do? But I'm kind of interpreting it my way too. It's what we feel comfortable with, basically. So it's a little bit of both.
Well, yeah, you have your own intuition, you know, like you feel inside of yourself when they say like you get those gut feelings and you should pay attention to those gut feelings. That's your own intuition.
Yes.
So like his question earlier when they were like, oh, you can't do this versus I shouldn't do this, or, you know, don't do this. Like if I'm like sitting there doing something and I'm like I get a feeling saying like, oh, I shouldn't do this. That's your intuition telling you, hey, like this is bad, versus you being like, I can't do that. I feel like that's just self-doubt. And that's you just doubting yourself.
Well, you know what? If you're getting that feeling, like even if it's you're driving a car, and let's say I don't feel like taking a right, I need to take a left. What can be wrong with following go to the left?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying every one is an intuition, but if you feel that, go with what you feel is right. Nothing wrong in doing that. So the worst way, you'll backtrack and go right again 5 minutes later. But follow your intuition as best you can. That's my advice. I can't tell you I have all the answers because I don't. Mm-hmm. But that's what I try to do. If I'm going a certain way, or if I'm sitting at a light and I'm going, oh my goodness, this light seems to be going on forever, I think to myself, maybe there's a reason why that's happening. That's my intuition talking to me. So I may go with a little more caution once the light changes. That's all.
Yeah,
Sally, why do people's negative opinion of you always outweighs the positive thoughts?
I love that question. I really love that. Thank you, Freddie. Yes, and I'm a very good example of that. Many years ago when I started, I was on the radio for a little while, many years ago, and I got a great reaction from people. However, I had one lady that called in that was so negative. I don't remember all the positives, but I still remember what she said. It's just human nature to be that way. But you know what? It doesn't matter today, because now I am who I am, and not everyone is going to agree with me. And I've matured a lot over the years, and I've started again where I'm talking in public. I have to take the good with the bad, but I don't want to take it personally. If someone says to me that they can say I'm crazy, that's all right. That's one person's point of view. They're not ready yet to maybe hear what I have to say, and I understand that. Thank you. Thank you. The answer related, right? Yeah, absolutely. We are human here. We're having an experience, and they used to upset. I will say this: if I got a lot of negativity, it would upset me very much. Today I have to let it go, because we all have different opinions. We all have different points of view. I like to hear a lot of positivity because I'm human, but there will always be someone that will say something. I just cannot let it get to me. That's where the answer is.
Has anyone ever read The Four Agreements?
Yes, I did a long time ago. Yes.
I mean, I have to reread it every now and then to remind myself to detach from other people's opinions and perspective, and be okay, even not just the bad, but even the good. Like, have no connection, just totally detached.
Perfect, absolutely
but,
perfect.
I gotta You got to continue
It's not
reminding because
easy,
it's not
but once you
easy.
become aware of that, you cannot let that define who you are. If someone says to me, well, what the heck are you talking about? You're crazy. I can't let that define me because I might have had 90% of the people saying, I love your message. We do that because we're human and we don't like to hear it, but we have to let it, I'm not there yet, but I have to let it go. I know that. It's not easy. It's not easy. But the more we're aware of that, and I can't let that define one person's comment, I cannot let it define who I am. We can't do that because we're not helping the other 90% of people that are wanting to hear our message. If I did that, I'd stop talking. Can't do that. We have a message, as you know you do. So we need to pass that on to people that want to hear. Not everybody's ready, and I totally understand that.
That is excellent. Thank you
But we
so
have to
much.
be, and my motto today is to be true to myself.
Yes.
Be true to yourself. Nothing will go wrong that way. We do what we need to do, pass on our message. Yes, of course, we're all different on different stages of our journey, but we can't let that one or two people that are saying that interfere with our journey.
The word
So-
that has been coming up for me in kind of the last year is authenticity.
I'm sorry.
Authenticity, to be
Oh, yes,
authentic to
absolutely,
me.
Karina,
If I am
yes.
authentic to me, then then my message
Which is
clear.
similar to mine. I keep hearing all the time, be true to yourself. Yes, I'm not saying it doesn't upset me if I'm trying to pass this message on to someone and they don't want to hear anything, but that's who they are. I can't control that person and their thoughts. So I'm learning, I'm still learning, just like everybody else that's listening. But I cannot let it be or define who I am today. Right. I love that question. Thank you. I think we're coming to the end of the show. I always say, I like to say, they said 5 minutes, so I guess we're at 3 minutes now. Okay, we have one more question. Maybe we can.
So, Sally, what what message, based upon the questions and the conversation in your show today, what is the message you'd like to leave your audience with today?
Well, actually, my message too is really for myself too, is to just keep an open mind. Know that, which I want to put in the final chapter, I believe, of our book, Lynn. Be aware, not everything that we see here is everything. It's not. There is so much going on out there. You don't have to believe it all. I know that takes time, but just be aware that we do get messages, we get little indications that there is more, we get validation. If we close our mind completely to that, we're not going to see it. Open up your mind. Maybe there is something more. And I feel so strongly about that since I'm now coming out with the UFOs, which is very dear to me. I had a closed mind. I didn't realize that was even happening to me. Today I've opened up my mind and I see that I was abducted many times. But we need to just do that. Do I expect everyone to believe that? No. But if you just keep an open mind, you might begin to see that there is so much more. Thank you for that question. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Please tune in next week, same time, same place, Brooklyn Cafe, 3 o'clock Monday afternoon. I'm here for everybody to ask me questions. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.